Have you ever walked into a room and had your mood positively change almost instantly from the decor? Has there ever been a time when you felt more relaxed and confident after an artsy project? If so, then you may not be surprised to hear that art has some therapeutic qualities. Practicing art is good for relieving stress and tension. Just to give you an idea of how effective art can be, consider this. We have over 60,000 thoughts a day, and over 90% of those thoughts are the same daily. When we engage in creative activities like art, our brains are distracted by our creative focus that we put ourselves in a meditative state. Neurotransmitter dopamines in the brain make us feel confident and good when released. The same neurotransmitter dopamines are released each time we view art of our own. Talk about a proud feeling of one's accomplished work. Aside from meditative states and neurotransmitter dopamines, art has been a real hero for me. Visual art has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Unfortunately, as I grew older, my responsibilities increased and I eventually stopped pursuing art. I forgot how impacting creativity can be until I placed a paintbrush in my hand after years of neglecting it. Drawing, graphic design, 3D installations have been my strengths and passion, but never paint. Paint was a medium I felt uncomfortable with. Using paint is challenging for me because of the difficulties I have with blending. It's also important to show brushstrokes to give fluidity and movement to paintings. Unfortunately, my insecurities as a teenager is what discouraged me from working on those weaknesses I had regarding painting. It wouldn't be long before I began making changes toward that. After I moved from Baltimore, Maryland to Providence, Rhode Island in July of 2017, I started to feel less tension and more grateful, just filled with gratitude. During this time, I smoked marijuana to help with my anxiety and depression. Smoking marijuana regularly helped me stop gambling. My state of mind was moving in the right direction to the point that I began doing art again. I remember going to an art and crafts store to buy a canvas board and paint. I purchased blue, red, yellow, black, and white paint, along with some inexpensive paintbrushes. I was ready to take on painting. Not only did I want to begin doing art again, but I wanted to step out of my comfort zone of graphic design and into the world of painting. After all, I wanted to push myself, so I had to take the less comfortable route. Later that week, I began painting a portrait of a yellow face and a blue hoodie. The excitement over the plans I had for this portrait motivated me. The yellow and blue colors I used excited me. But what I would soon discover has been my lifesaver till this day. I discovered that painting tells a story. From the moment my paintbrush hits the canvas, everything in front of me matters to the point of deserving all of whatever I have to give at that moment. At times, my lines or strokes would be too wide, so I had to learn how to work over it or around it. Such is life, right? So often we make decisions that we regret making. Till this day, I sometimes have thoughts on what could have been or should have been my life if I had done something different. But the reality is that I can't change my past. Therefore, I can't take back a decision that I've already acted on. I can only move forward the best way possible. Just like a brushstroke too wide or a line too dark, I can only move forward. Whenever I wasn't satisfied with a specific area of my art, I will continue to work it until it made sense with the rest of the painting. Such is life, right? If there's something about myself or a circumstance that keeps me from accepting it, then I need to put in the work to change it. I was exercising life lessons on canvas as I painted. Like how important it became to step back and look at my art from a distance. Stepping back to view art is important for a few reasons. It's important to see what details become lost and what details are visibly strong despite distance. If too many parts of an art piece lose power as a viewer steps back, then the art loses its power. Artists must step back from their work to get a better perspective on form, shape, composition, and so forth. It's not enough to step back a couple of times to view the work. It's necessary that artists step back from their work multiple times throughout creating. Otherwise, artists can risk proportion, composition, and other issues with their art. But such is life, right? Art reminds me to never become attached to a thought, job, relationship, or idea without stepping back to evaluate what it is I'm attaching to. Anything that I give my time and attention to a degree of commitment, deserves to be looked at from a distance. Stepping back from time to time helps me see where and why things are truly functioning how they appear to be to me. Painting was like going to church for me. Hallelujah. I was able to learn more about myself and how I handle life. Painting through the challenges I faced on canvas reminded me that I had to break through a lot of life's obstacles. I never allow my art to get to the point of completion unless I feel 100% pleased with it. The same painting I started in Providence is the same painting that I still work on till this day. The yellow face with the blue hoodie. As my skills get better, so does the painting. So I rework it all the time. Such is life, right? I never have to get discouraged when I'm faced with obstacles that are challenging. It's now easier for me to remember painting. Just as my skills developed the more I painted, the better a man I'll become as I continue to work on myself. Doing things differently is sometimes necessary to achieve something different. Painting has brought me to a place of not only embracing change, but creating it for myself. Art speaks to me in ways that are quiet and soft and never loud and hurtful. Art reminds me that I'm only as good as the effort I put forth. Art has shown me the power of listening and seeing situations with all of who I am. Art has demonstrated my own heroism. When I look at the progress I make with a painting, I see my determination, my strengths, my weaknesses, my endurance, my patience. I see my humanity. Art saved my life by allowing me to see clearly for the first time. I wasn't broken, damaged, or even hurt. I was only in the midst of change. Art taught me that I will always be a work in progress. Therefore, it's unfair for me to label or judge myself before the end of my last breath. After all, I'm only a work in progress. Thanks for listening. Y'all take care.